Hello, Turks, it's Piebold Bend. My name's host Eric, and I'm here to say hello. How's it going? I am something. That's how it goes, I believe. The beginning of this episode. The beginning of this episode, this episode really gets off to a roaring start. This live stream, it's like it just right off the bat, immediately rolling into a thundering herd of excitement, information, infocitement, and exclamation. So if you're like me and you love sitting and talking simultaneously, then you're going to really enjoy this live stream because I'm going to be doing a lot of sitting, I'm doing a lot of talking, I'm doing a lot of both at the same time. I just watched with both of my eyes my video called Can Host Eric Drive and Talk Simultaneously? The answer to that question ultimately proved to be yes. What will the answer to today's question be? Can host Eric sit and talk simultaneously? I guess we'll have to find out. Yeah. It's, people call me a risk taker. They aren't wrong. This is sort of like metaphysical bungee jumping, except without a bungee. It's like jumping off of a bridge. And smoking. While smoking, you want to talk about a risk taker. It's one thing to be risky and jump off of a high place. It's twice as risky, at least, to do it while smoking. You might get lung cancer on the way to the ground. I've never bungee. No, I don't like being jostled around. I'm very motion sick prone. I got bad sinuses, bad inner ear. And so I get car sick easy. I get boat sick easy. I don't get airplane sick. I don't like traveling on airplanes, but they don't make me motion sick. I smoke with you. I smoke with you is a funny sentence. I love it when people use present tense verbs, as they ought to be used in this context. That's the correct tense is present. People usually will say something like, I am smoking with you, or I'm going to smoke with you, or I will smoke with you. But I smoke with you. How did the afternoon go? Did your student do well? No, he did not do well. He went 1-5. Now, this is after a few tournaments in a row where he's done really well. Like, he should have won that last tournament at Damien if he didn't get judge fucked in the last round. But he went 1-5 this tournament. First thing to note is it was a high school open division I put him in. So he's going up against like seniors in high school. He's the 8th grader, So he is at a bit of a disadvantage. But it doesn't matter. He still should have won more rounds than he did. But I watched one of his rounds. It was the round he won. So I didn't really learn a lot from that, Yeah. Intuitives who don't have an opportunity to do debate, the school system is doing them a disservice. At least intuitive thinkers. So anyway, he did quite poorly in this tournament, but I learned some things about the topic and how it's being debated and how I need to structure the case. So it also brought up another instance where, parents think they know better. I need to let the process go down here. It's like the case wasn't quite ready, but I'm glad we took it out. Anyway, that was just the app. He lost twice on neg too. He lost 3 times on app. We ran a very conventional neg case. Hi, Christina Bowman. Wait a second, Christina Bowman. Is your last name Thunder or something like that? What's your boyfriend's last name? Fiances? Is he your husband yet, or are you still fiances? Spill the beans on the marriage, Christina Bowman. Did you break up? Did you catch him in bed with the cleaning lady? What's going on? Forge. Oh, I knew it was something like Thunder. Christina Forge. Forge Thunder is a good name for you. Thunder Forge. Or Forge and Thunder. Really? Why? What's going on? Is there something I shouldn't be on the screen or what? The wrongness was insulting. Wrongness is always insulting. What was I being wrong with? What was I being wrong about?
Dominating like that.
EP and ISFJ are the two sensing types that need to be paired up with another sensor. And for the rest of them, wrongness? What are you talking about? Why is that all screwy? That's not screwy at all. It makes perfectly good sense. It does. The thing is, it's not like something I made up to fit things or whatever. Something I realized only recently was the case, just because I hadn't ever done out all the fucking, I'm an HP. I come up with ideas. I don't work out all the implications of them necessarily. He just disagrees with me. He's just playing. He's playing rhetorical excess. Thoughts on psychedelics? Okay. I have more thoughts on Big Five than I do on psychedelics. Remember, the Big Five is a metaphor. Unlike cognitive functions, which are actually descriptive of something. Nobody has attributes. I don't have an attribute called openness. It claims to be more empirical or more sound or more scientific. It's not. It's less. It doesn't make any sense at all to say that I have an attribute called openness. How did I fuck up my own theory? It's just an observation based on what was already in place. It's like I didn't change anything. ISTJ. I mean, I might have made a mistake in the video. That's possible. Maybe I said something that I actually did the math wrong in my head or whatever. That's very possible. Okay, that's certainly possible. It is true that 75% of perceivers are metaphysical types, because you got. Oh no, it's not true. Well, yeah, it is. It is, because you got all four of the ends. That are their dominant ends. You've got oh yeah, I fucked up. My bad. I was tired, whatever. I don't know. I'll fix it later. Just any S or N, or any S or N. That's it. Yeah, I fucked it up. Never mind. But what I'm saying is that Like ESTP and ISFJ are both physical types. They should go together. Whereas ENTP and INFJ are both metaphysical types. They should go together. But INTP and ESFJ, that's intuitive sensor, right? They're not perceivers, though. They're judgers. But see, the point is, that's the point. In the judgers, no, it's true. It's true what I said, because ENFJ is a metaphysical type, but they're not a perceiver. Never mind. They're not a perceiver. Look, 6 of the intuitives are perceivers. That's what I mean by that. 75% of the intuitives are perceivers. Whereas only 25% of the sensors are perceivers. Is that what I mean? I don't know. Obviously, I have to work it out on paper, Hambo, and I'm confused now. You've just confused me. Stop unmasking my failure, please. I'm trying to keep that as hidden as possible. Shh. Okay, listen, Hambo, I'm just gonna leave it up to you. You figure it out. Too hard. I'm tired of thinking about it now. My bad about being wrong. I'm wrong sometimes. I am wrong periodically. I have a brain failure and wrongness takes me over and I just become wrong, and it's like it's hard to think about things too much because I'm not a TI doll. I get tired of all that thinking. Come on already. What is this thing? Who can think the most contest or something? Am I too high right now or drunk? Too high or drunk right? I never get too high to do anything. It really depends on my mood in general. So, well, Christina, there's no reason to doubt what I'm saying. What I'm saying is very self-evident, natural. I don't drink alcohol at all. It's self-evident. Everything all the points that I make, that when I don't misspeak or try to talk something out before I figured it out. Hambone, listen, when I'm talking shit out before I've actually worked it out on paper, it's not spiraling in the wrong direction. It's working in the right direction. Yeah, all of the perceivers are mistooled. Yeah, right. The other thing I was trying to think about was obviously just I got a little whatever. Yeah, I've eaten. I took pretty good SI care of myself today. I just had dinner not that long ago, and I took a nap before that, and I am catching up on sleep right now. I've been not getting enough sleep for a while. Any thoughts on people with second and sixth slot intuitive functions being more intuitive than those who lead with intuition? It makes sense in socionics and is a theory by right ruminations. Well, look, the tool function is one that is used in a way to excess, but no, they're not more intuitive. They are, their affect is more intuitive, which is to say, the part of them that displays in the world, the part of them that's doing stuff in the world or interfacing with the world, is the part of them that that people will note it more because that part of them is the intuition part. So, for example, INTPs, in my opinion, use too much extroverted intuition in certain areas. For example, they don't they don't value introverted intuition enough when explaining things. They're likely to be too thorough, cover every detail of the matter, etc. That doesn't mean they're more intuitive. It means they're less deftly intuitive, just as I am less deftly logical. So, I mean, the thing is, it's not like if right ruminations is correct, there would be a corollary there that I'm more logical than INTPs. Not true. That I'm a better TI user or something than INTPs. Not true. Um, it just isn't true. And you can see that INTPs, okay, well, I wouldn't put any weight in Nardi's work at all, frankly, because there's no reason to presume that there's a lot of reasons why I wouldn't put any weight in his work at the moment, anyway. So, first of all, if it's showing stronger, then we know right away it's meaningless because we're talking about something that functions as a specific role in the mechanics. So it's a utilitarian function that's utilized in response to demands by the external world for INTP. So it's easily activated. It's also not chosen, it's not willfully activated towards their own life or chosen on their own at all. So the failure of Nardi to differentiate between those contexts is partially responsible for the mistaking thinking that something is strong or weak. It serves a certain role. It's like saying the spark plugs are stronger than the carburetor. No, they're not stronger or weaker. They do different things. The thing is about so being an extroverted intuition dominant also comes with very effective NI. What does that mean? It means that introverted intuition plays a role in manifesting the self in ways that feel authentic, satisfying, rewarding, whatever. Okay. So, okay, well, so yeah, it is an ignoring function in the sense that EHP will have trouble recognizing NI that's not linked to his NE. If I'm ideating, my NI is very active. It is I'm aware of what's true and what's not true and what I'm saying and what I'm making and stuff like that. And I'm in fact, it may not be leading the charge, but it's very much riding shotgun and navigating. However, I'm not utilizing NI. Where I'm ignoring it is when shit's right in front of my face that's not related to my ideational chains. So, in other words, because I'm a dominant extrovert intuitor, introverted intuition plays a invisible collaborative role in everything that extroverted intuition does. But there are times when 2 and 2 are right in front of my face, and I will not recognize that it's 4. I won't even think about it because that's what's ignoring about it, because it's something external to me that's not of my generation that gives me cues of an NI conclusion. I can be a big dunce about that shit. But when it comes to my own music or stuff like that, I'm much less of a dunce. And sometimes I'm not a dunce at all. That's fine. Throw stuff at me. I mean, I could have that conversation. You know. So, who did the Titans beat? I missed all the games. Okay, so what was I talking about a second ago? I don't remember. I am tired. It's like that's the thing. I've been pushing really hard since I got this bottle of Adderall, and I'm like I'm turning down the dosages. So I'm currently I took like 3 of them this morning, but I'm kind of out of juice, and it's like I'm turning down the dosage in a period of diminishing returns so as to not be wasteful. I'll take a few days break and fully catch up on sleep, and then I'll resume the cycle in cycle two. Um, it's I feel very much this ontological challenge right now, and the ontological challenge is, I guess, clarity and centeredness or something in a period of being and having a lot less autonomy than I'm used to having, and also a lot less clarity about case level shit, and a lot more clarity about framework level shit. So with he is not an INTP. Um, I've got the framework shit set in place now. So I've got a girlfriend whom I love, and I feel confident that we're going to be together indefinitely. That there aren't any points where one could push a wedge issue really. And so one thing I've always wanted or liked to have down was uh, thank you, Rachel, is the relationship stuff, and to know that I've got my person that I can always turn to, and that we're really on the same team for reals, you know. Yeah, it took. I mean, I learned a lot in this last relationship before Rachel. Boy, I got to experience what it's like when you have somebody who's not, basically you could say is not SX. They're not an SX type. They're not. They don't want to be in a partnership. I've been in relationships before where, like my ESFJ ex-wife, she wanted to be in a relationship just like I did. We were both SX. We just didn't we just didn't work out. You know, that's all. She wasn't the right person, but uh, she was good at being in a relationship, and we were on the same page about being in a relationship. Um, but it was fundamentally a relationship of utility. I needed a mother for my little child because the little child's biological mother wasn't going to do any good mothering. And while I loved her and was happy to be the caregiver and everything, I also knew that um, she needed a mom too. We needed a nice SFJ house that was comfortable, where Delilah felt safe and comfortable and well cared for and stuff like that. So, and not my shithole of a whatever it was. So, that worked out fine for as long as it did until Delilah was grown. And she's a good person, and so I already had that sort of thing in place. Like, felt like it established for me somehow that was the default in relationships, that people were basically on the same page, about the relationship, if nothing else. But then in my next relationship, I got with somebody who was not SX. It was probably SP. And if you, from the Enneagram perspective, and she did not fundamentally see herself as part of a two-person team. So coming into this relationship, I hello. Hi. I'm good. Well, I mean, we never finished. We're building something for her, right? We're building a lexicon. We're building that thing for her. She could tell you what it is, you know. And the thing is, when it's fully built, it should be able to pull out recipes for lots of different kinds of essays and stuff, And then she just plug and play. Yeah, I mean, we have quite a bit to go on it if you want us to keep working on it. But I just figured, we got like we just got to start on it, and we got to start for like one kind of essay of how to do it, kind of. But in its ideal, in its original, in the vision of it, it would be something that she'd be able to use for essays once it gets built up from now through all the way through into college. Well, Wednesday. Whatever time's good for you. I mean, the thing is, tomorrow's not really good for me because I got to go. We're moving my dad into this home for a month or two. Yeah, so and I've already got scheduled stuff to do with my dad, and also I've got scheduled that I got to take my car to the shop tomorrow. So it's going to be fairly tight tomorrow. 'Cause yeah, either way is fine with me too. I mean, let's just do Wednesday this week. Thursday's also possible if you prefer Thursday. Okay, so then let's just do Wednesday this week, and we'll talk about it more when I see you on Wednesday. 8:30 on Wednesday till when? 8:30 to 9:30. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. If you want, I'll stay a little bit afterwards to explain to you more in detail what it is I'm doing with her. If you want. No, I mean, listen, I'll explain to you off the clock after she's done. Okay. All right. Sure. All right. All right. See you Wednesday. Okay. Cool. Okay. Cool. Thank you. Bye bye. Bye. Boy, these people love educating their children. They really like to educate their children. But I gotta tell you, they made the best possible choice. They found the best possible guy to educate their children. I feel like I'm safe to educate their children. I don't really trust other people to educate people's children. I trust myself to educate their children. Because I get that what I'm dealing with here. Her mom is freaking out because she can't come up with anything when she writes papers for school. Well, of course she can't. Why can't she come up with anything when she writes papers for school? Because she's an ISTP. She can't come up with anything. That's it. Just end the sentence right there. She just can't come up with anything. She's smart as a whip. Why can't she that? Because she's an ISTP, mom and dad. That's why. Let me explain to you about your little 5th grade girl here. She's very smart and delightful, but if you expect her to be an ideator, you are going to be sadly disappointed. She's not going to be good at debate like your son is. But if he could just have her, ISTP qualities, and she could just have his ENTP qualities, then they'd both be complete children. You don't get to have it that way, parents. You just don't get to have it that way. You gotta appreciate and love and work with the kid you got there, okay? Which is you got an ISTP and you got an ENTP. And it's nice because the older brother's a supervisor type. So, it's kind of like it seems like we create the least problems rather than say older sister, or younger brother be the ENTP, that would cause more problems. The younger one being the ENTP would cause more problems. So anyway, yeah, we talked about that. In fact, placeholder that Spacey didn't know what to do with his hands and his body when he was singing. That also, some of that loosens up with practice. So the more one practices singing in front of people, then the more one loosens up with that stuff. So it's kind of just self-consciousness, not just weak SE, it's 4th slot FE, being neurotic and self-conscious about being viewed by other people. Yeah, your NI relies upon it. This is my NE relies upon the ability to distill things down a little bit. 20-second trill, 20-second trill. 20-second trill is a 20-second trill. How big's my trill? It's 20 seconds long. That is my trill, 20 seconds long. Yeah, trill, 20 seconds. I call that poem, that's an instant urban poem. What do they call it? Slam poetry. Okay, I will try listening to it at 1.25 speed. Anyway, I was talking about my challenge right now. So my challenge right now is I've got all the framework stuff in place that I want to have in place, and yet it's I've got the case level stuff. That's to say, what's actually going on in my life on a day-to-day basis is very much feels like limbo. I could be coaching more debate, but I put that taking on new clients on hold until after I guess after my mom dies, and then I got other things in mind too. So it's kind of a holding period for me. I find myself tense a lot. I'm always sort of looking at the clock because soon enough I got to go inside and deal with mom or whatever. Dad's kind of always around, and we'll pop in. Well, Christina Bowman, introverted intuition is the ability to determine the right answer from a bunch of clues in circumstances where the clues do not make the answer deductively certain. You might also say the most succinct way possible of putting it is NI is understanding of what is determinant. NI understands what is determinant. So right, predicting how a movie will end is a good example of NI for sure. NI people tend to see things as examples of a universal. SI people see things as universals, as generalizations from a bunch of particulars, I guess, or something like that. You just know because it's obvious. The thing is, there are some people who have a lot of trouble with knowing that which is obvious, like ESTJs. My dad has a lot of trouble figuring out what's determinant in a matter. If there is something that's determinant, why is it so rare then? NI? I mean, it is. NI DOMs are rare, that's for sure. It's because, and this isn't a very good answer, but timing is less important than acting. And experiencing is more important than ideating. I don't know. It's like the sensing types. You're talking about two axes, NESI and NISE. On both those axes, the sensing types greatly outnumber the intuitive types. But even more so on the NISE one, because ENFPs aren't super rare. Yeah, sure. I experienced plenty of NI. I mean, that's the thing about fifth slot is all intuition DOMs are fluent in both intuitions. It's just the backside one doesn't get any of our willful attention. It's on autopilot. It's just good autopilot, but it's on autopilot. So even in times when we ought to look at it and take over for a second, we leave it on autopilot. That's what makes it ignoring. It doesn't mean it's a weak autopilot. It's not. Spoken like an INTJ placeholder? Well, I guess looks can be deceiving, placeholder. Because my head will not explode. Not today, anyway. I took my anti-head explosion pills. Yeah, so back to the ontological point, which I never finished. Oh, you're an INTP, right? I forgot. Oh, good night, Rachel, darling. I love you. Don't forget to dream about eating plenty of cheese. Sleep well. Sleep well in the pudding of moistness and the dampest of puddings you can find, okay? I'll talk to you in the morning. Bought Rachel's ticket to Hawaii, or actually her ticket from New York to LA. And then my dad voluntarily, without me even mentioning it, said she can stay. She's welcome to stay here the night before we go. And, and the night after we get back. So you get to see Pee again, Rachel. That'll be nice. And he reiterated he had no problem with Rachel. So, that's cool. Oh, good. Did you get some FNGJ? Do they have it in New York? I heard they do. They must have some FNGJ in New York, huh? Stephen Rain. She missed you when you were gone, when you first left. I mean, she definitely gets you looking for you. She'd be like, meow, meow, meow. Anyway, she'll be happy to see you again. PP has only ever gotten close to 2 people. Your dad pointed what out? Oh, the FNGJ? Oh, cool. Great. Give your dad 5 points for that. Hello, Stephen Rain. Thoughts on men having better SE than women when they both the same type? No, I don't buy it. My SE is pretty shitty. It depends what kind of SE you're talking about, too. My follow-through SE is pretty good at this point, but it didn't get... It took a long time to get there. But if we were talking about physical SE, no. I don't know. It's like I'm pretty strong. I'm pretty physical, I guess. Like I lift my mom into bed and all over the place, carry her around. But is that SE? It's just having arms, having these guns. Oh yeah. Yeah. Ooh. Can you explain concretely the function of SE, what SE does? Okay, well, SE is doing. When a person is paying attention via the attentional channel of SE, they are doing shit. Doing shit and getting shit done. So, if you've ever had a state of flow where you're like, where you're like, all right, cool. I went to the post office. Next, I got to go to the grocery store. I'm going to get that thing picked up. Next, got to drop off the laundry. Got to get some gas in the car. You're experiencing metaphysical SE. And then sometimes that that state of flow will last for a little while, and you'll really get a bunch of shit done, and you'll have trouble finding that state of flow again regarding getting shit done. I still have bursts of energy where I get a lot of shit done, even when I'm not on Adderall. But by and large, it's it's 5 mias for every pow and 4 pews and a waddle coot. Can you explain TE, please? TE is figuring out how to do shit. Anytime you're not sure of how you're going to get from A to B, TE comes into play. So right now, I don't want to deal with changing my password in Gmail, but I need to because I don't know. It's like I can't get logged in on my phone. I don't know. That's the thing. It's going to require some TE. Well, what does TE usually almost always require? Maybe not always. It requires getting your hands dirty. In other words, you got to start digging into the process and looking shit up and figuring it out, you know? So, I hate that TE. I hate TE. Where it's like I don't know what exactly is entailed between now and resolving this Google account problem that I'm having. So as a consequence, I just keep not doing anything about it because this part is working fine. On the laptop, everything's fine. It's just my phone that's not working. So, that's 6-slot countervalued TE, where I just don't like to figure out how to accomplish things. I hate that shit. It's the worst shit ever. TE is problem solving. It's also goal attaining. So your problem solving or attaining a goal depends on whether the thing you're doing is something that needs to be remedied or whether it's something you're trying to do to improve the status quo, I guess. How does goal attaining differ from task completing? I guess it doesn't really. It differs from problem solving. Task completing would be problem solving and goal attaining are both subsets of task completing, I guess. But I mean, the thing is, the point of the goal attaining and the problem solving both, and the difference between that and task completing is task completing is the end of the process, and goal attaining and problem solving are the distance between now and that and finishing the process. If you already know what you have to do and you're just completing the tasks that are done, that's SE, just straight up SE. If you are having problems figuring out how to get from here to there, like I can't get out this gate, Eric, because it's got a padlock put through it. You have to turn. It's like Rachel was baffled by this situation. When you encounter something that's not familiar to you and not incredibly obvious how to get out of it, you've got to figure it out. You got to figure out how this new latch thing works. You got to figure out how to recover your whatever account. It's like TE polar people just go, oh, and TE 6-slot go, ugh. I freaking hate that shit. Difference between TE polar and TE 8. TE 8 is quite active, and from another person's perspective, anyway. It's just not like, okay, my ex-wife ESFJ, she put a lot of energy and attention into learning how to do this image transfer process, where basically you take a photograph or a page from a magazine or something like that. You get it printed, you scan it or something, get it printed, mirrored, and then you put the gesso stuff down onto the wood, and basically you can get it to lift the image, all the ink off of the paper and onto the wood, so that it's transferred onto the wood. I don't know. I don't know how else to explain it. It's called image transfer. Quite an involved process that she figured out. She didn't figure it out herself, but she did learn how to do it. She took she got lessons from one person. She learned how to do it by multiple sources of information. And when she got good at it, she started making a bunch of them. She'd sell them and stuff like that. And it was important to her because it served her FE so much, and she had to do it right because FE was dependent on it. So FE, good interface with people, fully deft interface on a social level, requires competency in interfacing on the non-social level, and vice versa. That's why you'll always see a fair amount of FE in ESTJs and ENTJs. You might not like it, but you'll see examples of it. I'll ask you about any, and is it involved in thinking and talking simultaneously? Yeah, well, I mean, I know that ENTPs think as they talk. INTPs do as well. NI users tend to have their thoughts, especially NI DOMs, tend to have their thoughts fairly well worked out before they speak. TE users would be good. Bruce Wayne, that is not appropriate. I'm going to remove your comment. We have scheduled a field trip of fourth graders coming through here later. Okay. I can do this weird NEFE loop and come off with like an ENTP, but I need to be in a good mood and not tired. I also can't keep it up for more than a couple of months. Interacting with boring people. Nobody can keep anything up for a couple months. If it's willful, if you're willfully attempting to affect some sort of other self. Do ESTPs struggle more with understanding how to complete tasks than ESFPs because they have no conscious TE? Yeah, I would say so. I mean, not so much they struggle, it's countervalued like it is in ENTPs. If called upon to demonstrate TE, ESTPs and ENTPs will both demonstrate TE just fine. We will solve your problem for you. We will figure out how to do it. We just don't apply it to ourselves at all because it's serving FE for us mostly. Well, I mean, you do have extrovert intuition as a tool function. You're going to come across as fairly social in the right kind of social setting, provided you feel safe. It's not unnatural to use it. It's not. It's not really me choosing to use it. I use it when the world is demanding of me that which I don't, which is not what I'm naturally be doing. So what I'd naturally be doing is playing like I am now. Making a song, swing bong rips. I wish I had a beverage. this idea of beverage. How do third-slot TE users use their TE then by comparison? Well, I mean, ENFPs will get into shit like welding if they're dudes, for example. Welding, brewing beer, a lot of physical shit. It's like their innie gets played out a lot more physically in terms of their actual activities. They're much more likely for their creative endeavors to involve some sort of physicality than ooh, Jeeves got in trouble. Do not feed the female ego. Women, you're so great. Did I feed the female ego? Oh, Winston's mom, you and others of your gender are very good. I'm fairly certain my dad is an ISTJ. Is any giveaways that I might be able to pin on him? Well, how does he have systems of taking stuff with him? Like, for example, like Cameron, he's got this special container that he brings his pens in. He's got another special container that he's got his bong stuff in. He's got all of his weeds organized into different bags and different slots, and it's like he's a fucking walking Boy Scout. ICJs, they know which objects they have, they know where they are, they know why they have them, and they know which of those objects they're feeling like really isn't organized right yet. You know, the ISTJ motto is be prepared. Ah, shit. I got a flat tire. Ah, good news, says Cameron. I've got a spare air tube and a electric air pump, inner tube pump in the back of my car. I'll just get them right out and fix it right now. That's ISTJ. They have it with them, whatever it is. They have it in their car, or, you know, it's like, God, I wish I had a pen. Ah, I've got several. Would you like, what color would you like? So prepared. They're all about the existing resources, being a good shepherd of their existing resources and utilizing those to the best of their ability. Bruce Wayne, no, you cannot feel around my jellyfish. I told you it doesn't matter what kind of euphemism you use, you can't get up on my junk. One of my favorite interactions is ENFP and ISTJ. Best other half for ENTP, INFJ. Do ESTPs prefer trial and error than constantly attempting to understand the how before doing something then? Yes, I would say so. And I think trial and error for them is much more of a binary thing. Like for ENTPs, trial and error is more conditional. For them, it's more absolute. So shit either flies or doesn't. You know, they take a shot at whatever and see if it flies. Whereas me, it's like I expect to be able to go back and try it the other way after I fail. Well, placeholder, people staying married who oughtn't, and there's a remarkable amount of power and familiarity for some people that more so than others, obviously. Uh, that's a good point, Winston's mom. Bird does need to get annoyed, or at least the parent birds do. You know, I raised a child. And I gotta say, I don't have any desire to raise any more children. I have one child. I like that. I like that I don't have to split my affections. Um, I like it for financial reasons too, you know. But yeah, ICJs are not great at technology at all. That's not a good kind of TE for them. They're TESI, which means new stuff is unfamiliar, and they have to learn it sort of consciously or figure it out willfully. But so yeah, having him raising a kid was very rewarding. But I have to say, this is the best part of having a kid is when she's 21 and got her own shit going on and happy and such an ESTP. It's nice. It's like we both have polar FI. Really helps. It really helps in a very loving father-daughter relationship where we both love the hell out of each other. It really helps to have polar FI on both sides because neither of us is ever getting our feelings hurt. In fact, we're both like, you're cool, right? You're cool? Yeah, okay, good. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to care about each other's feelings, We play that all the time. Well, we do care about each other's feelings a lot. But, it's like we both don't want to be obligated to do shit, like stupid things, like holidays and whatever. Placeholder, placeholder. That's a little gruesome for Monday evening, okay? It's a little gruesome and a little ontologically violent for a Monday evening. Save that shit for Saturday night, bro. Get a room, bro. Get a room. The same age my older one is, Eric. 21. Yeah. Good age. I'm really looking forward to going to Hawaii with her and Danny. Danny's cool. Danny might be an ISFJ. I'm not sure. He's an I something. He's an FE user. He's an introverted FE user of some sort. He's not FI. So that I have to talk to him more. Gene likes to share She opens up her window and gets the air. How about 2 lottery tickets today? If I win something big, we will all meet you in Hawaii. I wonder how Sarah's father would like that surprise. I think it'd be fun. It'd be fun if Rand Channel people came to Hawaii and hung out with us. So today is the it's the 6th of January. On the night of February 4th, I will be having sexual intercourse. That's almost a month away. And I'm not going to be having sexual intercourse prior to then. Now, it's not really that long. I've gone much longer than that before. But, after my second wife, ended a dalliance shortly after the second wife. I went a year, no problem, didn't even think about it. Bruce Wayne, don't double standard me. It's not something that really. It's not something I think is being very important. After the first 2 weeks, the girl has to ask. That's not true. I mean, listen, placeholder. I feel you, dog. I totally feel you. I was that in every previous relationship too. It was like, okay, whatevs. But it's different with Rachel. I don't know. It's a little different. We have a lot of. Okay. I do have some cash out. I know you are. I'm impacted accordingly. I gotta go in. I have to. Put my mom in the toilet. I'll be back. I'm gonna leave it on. Hi, everybody. I'm back. My front door is unhackable. It is not connected to the internet. She's probably howling to be let outside. I don't hear her at the moment. She would have come in if she had been outside the door. I don't currently have any tarot cards. However, I will let you know that I actually ordered a tarot card deck the other day. So it should be here relatively soon, I would guess. You might hear her. Sometimes she does protest really loudly. I doubt you would have heard her this time. She did scream when my dad wiped her. As she sometimes does. It's like, why is somebody getting up in my privacy? But of course, if we don't do it, she doesn't do it herself. So how good is SI fifth slot at memory? It might. It's about as good as fourth slot. Yeah, well, it's that is the fundamental struggle of caregiving for somebody with dementia. I do my best to try to respect her wishes and her autonomy about things. And at the same time, if she thinks like piss, she needs to have a shower. She doesn't want to, really. And of course, she may scream when I get her into the shower, but as soon as I get in there, she's like, "Ah, this feels so good," and she's happy to be in there. So, what stage is she in? I don't know. She's not in. She's not. She couldn't answer any of the questions that the nurses asked today as they assessed her. Like, the nurse said, "Can you repeat after me? Can you repeat the word blue?" And she said, "Yeah, yeah." She never did say the word, and other things like that. So I don't know what to say about it. I recognize Rachel helped me to recognize a lot more than I used to. That mom is communicating a lot more than dad and I are, or dad especially is inclined to think, and dad and I are inclined to remember necessarily. Now I'm attentive to it, but yeah, she feeds herself as long as you put food in front of her. It may take her. May take her an hour. She can't cut up her own lines of coke anymore. Dad and I have to chop those up for her. Thank you. God bless you too. God bless us, everyone. I don't have any Pokemon cards. Otherwise, good idea. Big sneezes for little Eric. High claw craziness. Check mark. We can barely get $10 out of it anymore. It's ridiculous. Claw craziness. Your channel looks like cancer. Wow, big sneezes. No, they do a lot. God. The thing is, wow, that is some serious sneezes. The thing is, with demonstrative demonstrative ST, ESTJ is more, they do more useful things than just ESTP. The attentional channel doing shit, whether or not it serves the self, is pretty important as to how much you're going to see it. It's not serving the self, as it's not in ESTJs. You're going to see it a lot more because they're going to do things in ways that are noticeable by others. It's a demonstrative act, after all. Okay, Silva, I just want to say you're on the right track here. It's an area that can be confusing for me too, because so much doing is predicated on attainment of goals and problem solving, but doing for the ESTP is not predicated on that. So you're not going to see as purposeful from your own perspective as a doing from an ESTP, because ESTP's doing is purposeful to themselves. It's not purposeful to the world. But you can see the difference between TE and SE, and the difference between ESTPs and ESTJs. ESTPs are very dewy, but not very protocol-y, not very much about following protocols or logistics and all that kind of shit. Whereas ESTJs are all about the protocols, logistics, and that kind of shit. Yeah, I had to sneeze out the demons. And every person, they're what are known as sneeze demons. Now, they're not known as sneeze demons because they make you sneeze. They're known as sneeze demons because the only way to get them out of you is to sneeze them out. When you really have to sneeze a lot, chances are it's your body expelling a sneeze demon. I mean, the thing about that is, it's true in general, perceivers don't make reservations, judges do. But it's also true that knowers are very different than actors. And it's also true that interfaces are very different than deliberators. So there are, the Sandman does. Sometimes one sneezes because of all the sand. That's plausible. The other thing is SE on the front stack has this kick the anthill quality to it. There is a way that SE impacts things in non-purposeful ways that serves the purposes of high SE users. So it serves the purposes of a high SE user, for example, to say something, to throw one thing out there in a conversation, a group conversation. A high SE user might not say a whole bunch, and then they might say something really provocative, or direct something towards another person, like, that's stupid, you're stupid, and it's not really saying anything, but it's kicking the anthill, and that's sort of metaphysical form of SE, just pulling the trigger and doing shit without really thinking it out. One way to think about action is the absence of deliberation or the end of deliberation. So, anytime you go, I don't know which we should go, meow, meow, or meow. Well, do something. Okay, fine, yeah. That's action taking the place of, putting it, pressing need from reality in a time frame, putting an end to deliberation and forcing action. Sensory perception means stuff you see, hear, smell, touch, feel, versus stuff you think, emote. Yeah. Yes, you must indeed observe all protocols. Rule number 1. I wonder if this is sneezy weed. That's always one of those plausible options where, I don't know if you get some sneezy weed. Easiest way to tell between TI polar and FI polar. Probably should be obvious, but I'm in trouble. You can test the TI of anybody. Give them some TI questions to see how they do. Good for him. Well, he didn't stick around long. I guess I bored him. Claw craziness. What are you going to do? I guess if you want around 1 million subs, everyone's like, oh my God, Claw craziness is here. It's pretty cool. Thanks a lot, Hambone. Thanks a lot. No, ferrets organize themselves into the gold group, the silver group, and the brown group. You don't want to be in the brown group. TE does not like to get you done for the region golden obstacles. TE is the manner of attention that parses out ordinally instead of conditionally what the steps are that one has to take if one's going to meow. And if you don't know one of the steps, then you could meow. You can TE it. You figure it out. It's like, how am I going to fix this burger refrigerator? Am I going to fix this burger refrigerator? Probably good TE would just buy a new refrigerator, but that's the sort of thing that's a TE decision. What's the smartest way to deal with this shit? When people talk about smart ways of doing things versus dumb ways of doing things, that's TE. doing things occurs in either instance. But TE and FE have agendas. I mean, they're both interface functions, which means they're about interfacing with a system. FE interfaces with a social system. TE interfaces with a non-social system. So the point is that from an FE user's perspective, if they don't understand the nature of the interface functions, TE users are going to seem like they use people. And from a TE user's perspective, FE users are going to seem like they manipulate people. Or fake, or whatever. Do you know that ferrets and parrots evolved from the same common ancestor, called a parrot? It's 5:34 in the morning, in the nighttime, in the afternoon. There's only two choices: morning or night, Eric. Evening, supper time. How many times will you experience supper time before you experience supper? It's one of the great questions of all time. Will you have another plate of flapjacks? Will you have another plate of griddle cakes? Will you have another plate of panjacks? Will you have another plate of griddle pans? These are all important questions. The kind of questions that, if they don't get asked a lot. Everybody's mewling along in their conformist ways. They're not asking these questions. The griddle flaps. Will you have another plate of panjacks? Or will you have another plate of jack flaps? Will you have another plate of pancakes? Will you have another plate of griddle cans? Will you have another plate of flap griddles? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. How many griddle pancake jacks what's another word for pancakes besides griddle cakes, pancakes, and flapjacks? I want to know. Thanks, Winston's mom. I really tried to produce the fuck out of it. What do you think of the codependency construct as much associated with FE rather than FI? Codependency. I don't know what that looks like exactly. I mean, I'm not sure what the distinction between codependency and a good relationship is. Good relationships are fairly codependent in their displays. Thanks, Ghostwriter. Christina Bowman thinks it's pea split soup. Can you please explain, Christina Bowman, the difference between pea split soup and split pea soup? Inquiring minds want to know. Is codependency a construct? Like, what do you mean by referring to it as a construct? I'm curious about that. Like, I mean, isn't it a behavioral disorder of some sort? A two-person team behavioral disorder? The thing is, the amount of dependency upon another person and whether or not it's healthy, it really depends on whether or not the other person is trying to control you in any way. If I wants codependency to fill a void in its own opinion, if he just has a void. Huh. I had a Chihuahua Corgi mix, best dog ever. Yeah, I'm just not quite sure what comprises codependency. If somebody's trying to control you, like, that's not a healthy relationship. If somebody's trying to tell you you need to change these aspects about yourself all the time, that's not a healthy relationship. But I like the codependency implicit in two parties who are truly committed to each other in a long term sense. Um, I like depending on Rachel to pick up the phone. You know, I like checking in with her multiple times a day. I like being in a relationship like that. Becomes over reliant on other people in general, or what? Like over reliant according to whom? What makes them overly reliant? It would seem to depend on the nature of the people involved. It's like I don't mind my significant other being reliant upon me for lots of things. I mean, I don't know. It's not something I'm experiencing with Rachel at all. Neither of us want control at all. You know, we don't want to control the other party. So I don't know. I have to. It's like I can't. I don't get things until I experience them. That's part of the problem with being an SI user in the fourth slot. Is a lot of times I don't. Uh, Mary Poppins is a wonderful name. Right. It is about offering what each other needs. And sometimes people need weird stuff. Like what I need in a partner is what Rachel's able to provide for me. And it's an unusual kind of relationship in the sense that she didn't really have anything going on, and that's how I wanted it. It's not because I want, not because I, you know, it's I want somebody who's I've got a lot of flexibility for a lot of time. I'm gonna be wanting somebody that also has a lot of time for me, you know. And I'm looking for a best friend lover combo punch kind of a thing, you know, somebody I get along with really well. We can hang out, we can chat, Man, yeah, I used to rely on my ex-boyfriend for emotional support when I was anxious, then got upset with him if he wasn't able to go to me because he was emotionally exhausted. That is codependent behavior. Oh, well, I mean, look, there are varying degrees to which it's reasonable to expect um, things of your partner. You know, I expect my partner to be a teammate, and so I fully expect that if I have a need for her to give me her attention right now, and it's a genuine need for her to give me her attention right now, that she's going to basically hop to and give me her attention right now, as I will do the same for her if there's a genuine need, you know? At the same time, being a good partner and being really believing that you're a good partner, well, that means I'm trying not to be a burden on my partner as well. So I think Rachel and I are both doing that for each other. We're both being ready to be a good partner as the need arises and trying not to be a burden on our partner. By and large, we just enjoy each other's company. You know, we enjoyed making a video together yesterday. And yeah, I know what I need. I mean, it depends on the partner regarding that stuff too. The weird thing is this. Um, I have told I have told Rachel many times that oh, nobody knows one. You should definitely remain an amorphous ball of potential forever. Uh, and I told Rachel, and I totally mean it, and that's how I feel like it should be, is that I have no problem with her seeking reassurance from me infinite times. And I will always give her the same reassurance. Um, if she's feeling like insecure in the relationship or whatever. And I expect the same from her if I need reassurance. And because I love her, um, of course, when you are genuinely happy to provide reassurance, because that's easy, I can reassure you of what I know to be true, and if it makes you feel better, great. I can do that infinite times. And the thing is, as soon as it's obvious to your partner that you're totally serious, that you'd be happy to offer them reassurance about something you're feeling uncertain about or want reassurance about infinite times. It never will bother me. You can't be too needy with me. You can be too controlling, but you can't be too needy. If you're feeling needy, then let me provide some need fulfillment. You know, the thing is, when you take that approach with somebody, all of a sudden they don't really need very much anymore. You know, because they know it's there. It's this confidence in the status of a thing that allows you to move forward on other issues. It's what I've needed for a long time is confidence about my status with my significant other and our relationship and her commitment to me and her loyalty to me and her being kind to me as well. Undergoing our last relationship where somebody was unkind to me a lot for a couple of years, it really attacked me in my polar, and the impacts of that were kind of hard to articulate, hard to pin down in ways. Sorry is not good enough, Christina Bowman. Sorry is not good enough. Those typos, you can't go back and undo those. Those typos are there forever. Fucking up my live chat forever. Thanks a lot, Christina. Not forgiven. I'm gonna go smoke this cigarette. I'm just kidding, Christina. You are forgiven. So I really applied myself carefully during the mixing and mastering of Agave Weatherman, more so than I've been able to really quite put together before. Right, it's not. You can't dump all your shit on somebody else. That's true. You can't make somebody else your emotional dumpster. But the thing is, there's a difference between needing to clarify feelings and statuses about stuff that's current versus needing reconciliation about stuff that happened before you got with a person. That's a different kind of ask, right? It's like I like to work together as a team to make sure we're both feeling comfortable, confident, happy, secure, solid in our relationship, and not harboring anything unresolved. Anything that you're upset about or whatever, and you leave unresolved, generates resentment. It's unavoidable. And those resentments will not go away. They will have to get processed at some point in the future, or they will continue to come up and come up and come up and come up. So, like, I'm happy to make sure that those kind of things get resolved right away. And Rachel and I do a great job of talking about shit the second it becomes potentially an issue, right? Like, if one of us is feeling meow about something, like, I don't like the way you meowed or something, then we're going to mention it right away. I can't hide it for a second. I've got the world's worst poker face. Lady Gaga definitely wasn't singing that song about me. And Rachel has learned that, basically she doesn't like to sit with bad feelings. I was really happy when she Google Hangouts messaged me the other day saying, "Hey, can we talk soon? I'm feeling kind of down." And I was able to talk to her and reassure her and all that kind of stuff. For some reason, one of what I typed was cut out. Olsa is new to our channel. It's our channel, Winston's phone. We're all part of the thing here. It's like this live chat is nothing except all of us talking to each other. Especially the live streams are our live streams. There wouldn't be a live stream worth watching at all, or I wouldn't want to do a live stream if nobody was here. With 15 people is great, provided people are providing things in the chat for me to riff off of. That's plenty of people. But not a very big live stream by objective standards, but it's ours. It's fun for me. It's fun for you. We're all happy people that are here. Lisa Wells Baker. Lisa Wells Baker, since you're new here, I'm going to give you a one-time pass on this, but we do have a rule about hyphenated names here. I'm just kidding. We don't have a hyphenated names rule. So as you see, I'm getting the last little bit of seasonal cheer with my coffee cup today. I'm jingling all the way into the middle of January. So this is an interesting phase of my life for me. Very interesting. Coming up is going to be about 2 months of not having mom here, where I'm really going to have very little responsibility. You never know, Hambone. Hey, don't throw that shit in my face. I don't like that. Makes me feel bad. This is delicious coffee. What will I do when my mom's in there? I'm gonna have an opportunity to go on some adventures if I want to. It's like I'll have little responsibility and a wide open West. Yeah, I know. I do want to do awards for sure. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with all of the time. I talked about with Rachel maybe flying out to New York at the end of January or something, but she's like, no, we're going to see each other in Hawaii. That's coming soon enough. So, Sean Ryan Barron, you can win the award for person most interested in ruining the meaning of trophies. This is not decaf. So I enjoy a degree of liberty that exceeds most people's. Now there are two. I guess you could say I enjoy a degree of freedom that exceeds what most people uh, have. Liberty is the lack of constraint to doing things. Freedom is the ability to do things. I have both the lack of constraint coming up shortly. In a week or so, a week or two, Mom will be in this residential place for 2 months. I thought it was 1 month. My dad ended up getting 2 months. Oh, so good. So good. So shockingly good. You know why it's so good? It's because I dump so much non-dairy creamer in it that it's delicious. Uh, it's like when you're younger and you're in the throes of working and you're constantly, this is my story. When I was younger and I was in the throes of working and I was always at work or stressing about work or drinking, because that's what I did when I wasn't doing those two things. What would I do if I had a reasonable amount of resources and none of these obligations? What would I do? Would I be okay with that? Would I be bored? Retirement, so to speak. Note, I am not retired, but kind of like I am. And uh, I'm also solo at the moment. I'm not single, but I'm solo. So I want to make sure to take advantage of this time. I want to kind of know what projects I want to work on when I'm not out and about. I want to know what I want to do when I am out and about. I know where I want to go when I want to go someplace. Uh, Most of these trips I'll probably take by myself, but some of them I will probably take with Cameron. I'm not retired, like I said, but it's like I'm retired because I'm working for this one rich client who hires me like a lot to teach their kids. And I got no rent to pay, and I got my dad. I'm getting money from my dad for taking care of my mom, and um, just because. Well, I mean, because I have to I I have a limited amount of work I can take on. Right now I'm. He was upset this weekend about the debate tournament. He'd rather I not. Oh, my dad's retired. He's in his 80s. It's kind of a crazy conversation. um, no, I mean I've been. I don't need more debate. I don't need more debate. I I don't want more debate. I have a small family, and we're a tight family. Um, we're not a poor family. Where do you live, Horse Mumbler? What state do you live in? Well, I think so too, Dark Phoenix. One of the things I have to do is sell Horse Mumbler on the idea. Tucson, Arizona, easy squeezy. What do you say? Are you available to hang out with me on January 21st, 22nd, sometime in there? Make a video maybe? Or just hang out, smoke some weed? I don't know. You still won't be able to vote, I don't think, in Dark Phoenix. I don't think you get to vote if you're married to an American. What's the idea? The idea is I might be going to Arizona. I could visit Mark. I could visit Horse Mumbler. I could visit the Arizona Chamber of Commerce. See, Horse Mumbler offers the toughest kind of critique I'm going to face about my political campaign, which is, being meta-rational in part means that there's a fundamental problem with that, which is either you're entirely principled or sometimes you're not. If sometimes you're not principled at all, because in that regard, you're ultimately being arbitrary in your application of your framework. Sometimes you apply it, sometimes you don't. That means it's not really a framework. So that argument chain will always defeat the meta-rational who tries to incorporate utilitarianism into the equation as well. However, that's what it means to be meta-rational, is to recognize that the human experience is one where you have to deftly balance these things. And even if it's a legitimate critique of other people that they're being arbitrary in their applications of a framework, requires the right person who respects the risk of that, factors it in, and nevertheless manages to put the interests of the country first, ultimately. To recognize the interests of the country will generally align with principled positions. And also to recognize that sometimes somebody's dumped a bunch of trash in the ocean. Well, okay, let's take the trash out of the ocean. If you get at it right away and take it out of the ocean, fine. But if it sits there for 30 years, and all of a sudden you got a coral reef growing up on the trash, then you don't want to pull the trash out of the ocean. You're going to destroy a lot of coral reef. There's a lot of shit with the government that's like that. That there's stuff that's bad, but it has a lot of other stuff depending on it anyway. And figuring out how to segue out of those inadequate but reef supporting garbage is the big challenge, and it requires meta-rationalism because you can't just ignore all the utilitarian impacts. You just don't want to be dogmatic. At the same time, you don't want to be arbitrary. It's the challenge of the moral agent. Don't tell Lisa. Shh. Don't tell Lisa, but she's got a big piece of asparagus on her nose. Well, Horse Mumbler, I'll take that as you don't want me to visit you in Arizona. Fair enough. The guy who invented the Segway died falling off a cliff on his. How sad for him. No, it doesn't. It absolutely doesn't. It's the least. It's the least norm. No, absolutely not, Christina Bowman. Absolutely not. Because there can be no possible consensus about the good if it's not based in negative rights. And as a consequence, the idea of upholding the maximum good for the maximum people is always arbitrary. Plus, to make it double arbitrary, it requires you to be correct in your predictions. And if you're smart about it. So, utilitarianism then is a moral framework that gives moral guidance only to smart people? What? No, that won't do either. That's why meta-rationalism is required. Exactly, be smart about it. But look, the whole point of a normative framework is supposed to give definitive moral guidance about something before you take the action. In other words, when considering an action, you can know in advance whether it's moral or not. It doesn't require any intelligence. It's simple as, negative constraints. Whatever, I've gone over it before. I'm tired as a piece of poo that's been sitting next to you as you've been chatting all night about Real Housewives. That piece of poo is tired. It's tired of listening to you because you haven't anything interesting to say. So that poo gets up on its little poo legs, walks away to its little poo way, and then it waves and says bye-bye to you. Because it doesn't want to hear anymore about the Real Housewives. The end. Yes, Jeeves, I'm running for president. Not in the 2020 because I can't in 2020. I wish I could. I wish I could have in 2020, like a year ago. I wish I had the resources, the time, the energy, the wherewithal, whatever. But it's going to have to wait till 2024 because the slabs want it that way. Well, we can't talk just right, Eric. Pretty disadvantage. Yeah, I know. It's pretty disadvantage. That's why. Will I reinstate the draft as president? No. I mean, look, the draft's not a terrible thing. At least it requires all segments of society to serve in the military together, which is unifying. Which is what a citizen democracy is. It's consistent with the values of citizen democracy, of equality before the law. A lot of people think that, Jeeves. What do you think of these recent events with the death of that general in Iran? I mean, it's indicative of why I need to be president. Well, the general was Iranian, the place was Iraq. Since when does America assassinate people? I mean, it's not any worse, really, than the drone strikes. These things need to stop. Extra, quote unquote, extra legal killings, that expression equals murder. The United States is murdering people in cold blood. There is no legal justification for the drone strikes. There is no legal justification for assassinating that Iranian general. It's not okay. It's not the way to be an international citizen. And under my leadership, the United States will engage in no murder. Period. How is it a cop-out to think leaders should be smart enough to predict outcomes with a reasonable amount of certainty? It's not a cop-out to think that. It's also the case that the smartest leaders will be smart enough to know when they cannot make predictions because systems make it not possible. Chaotic systems don't allow you to accurately predict how something's going to play out. This is why our foreign policy always is just a cluster fucking failure. Well, how's it going to play out if we arm the rebels in Afghanistan to fight against the Soviet Union? You can't predict the outcome of something like that. Too many vectors, too many variables. If you're going to try to make a prediction, it would be, well, it's going to piss them off. It's going to piss somebody off. When you get involved in somebody's fight, you're going to piss somebody off. Look, I'm not saying assassination doesn't occur, Bruce Wayne. I'm saying that the United States ought not engage in it. We ought not engage in extra legal killing. If we are in a declared war against another power, then I'm all for headhunting. Let's try to assassinate their leader rather than killing their civilians. Why do I want to be the president, Eric? The country needs me. If we had any competent people, the country needs me. I'm destined to be president because I'm the only one who can do the job. I'm the only one who can bridge all the different parties together and say, no, I'm not going to be divisive. No, I'm not going to play this demonize the enemy kind of a thing. And yes, I am going to fight you. And yes, I am going to tear you to fucking pieces. Being able to do both those things is critically important. The thing is, Stephen Rain, it really doesn't matter why Trump did this. It matters that he did it. And it matters that there's no consensus response of like, okay, well, let's redo impeachment now because that's not okay. Cool. Jake Forrest, totes. You're going to be in LA in the week of January 20th January? Totally McBodily. I guess I'm not going to Arizona that week. Eric will federally fund McDonald's and customize the menu to his liking. I tell you what I will do is I'll eat at McDonald's a lot. All right, well, look, the thing is, there's nothing wrong with assassination if you're in an active hot war with the country. Assassination is a great thing. Better to kill their leaders than it is to kill the civilians, for sure, if you're in a hot war. We are not currently in a meaningful hot war with anybody. And we shouldn't be. So we shouldn't be killing people as a consequence. If we want to kill people, we should arrest them, put them on trial, find them guilty of a capital crime, and punish them to the death penalty. If you want to destroy McDonald's, get the government involved in it. That's the quickest way to destroy McDonald's. McDonald's is great just the way it is. Doesn't need any help. It doesn't need any help with the media. I think it's fair to say that a lot of the customs are starting to disintegrate. International customs. It's like there's never any hard fast rule exactly that we won't do this or we won't do that or we will do, but it was always considered shameful, at least. Now it's like there's no even customary acceptance that something's shameful. How we talk about shit needs to change. That's it. It's like it doesn't need to get more complicated either. It needs to cut to the chase. I know what you meant, Christina Bowman. Okay, well, collaborating with and funding our active enemies. Do we have active enemies? I mean, let's be serious about it. When's the last time we were attacked by these active enemies? And if they're not attacking us on a regular basis, how are they active? The stream's been going for 2 hours and 26 minutes. And it'll probably go for another 40 until I got to put mom to bed. What group do you expect to be most opposed to your presidency? I don't think there is going to be any single group opposed to my presidency. I think every group's going to have a problem with me. And hopefully every group at a certain point realizes that they also have less of a problem with me than anybody else, because at the very least, you know that I'm going to be doing prudent adult stuff instead of impulsive kid stuff like Trump is doing. Trump's an impulsive child. My transparency will be helpful. Jeeves is saying, "Wow, you're smoking so much weed on camera, Eric. That's not going to help." Actually, it probably will. Everybody knows exactly what they get with me. Will I sing for the evangelicals? Sure. The thing is, also, I do self-identify and have for a while now as a Christian. Not something I ever thought I would self-identify as, but I actually do. So, what do you know? Just in time to run for president. Oh, you're not really a Christian. Yeah, I am, for sure. It's been kind of something that's developed over the course of a few years since I quit drinking, you know? Yeah, I do want to host these live streams. I mean, look, the thing is, I would like to live stream as much of the presidency as possible. So, my daily business as president, to the extent that it doesn't involve stuff that, for whatever reason, has to genuinely be kept under wraps, like maybe a deal in the works that hasn't been finalized yet or something like that, I'd like it all to be public. After all, it's the public's business. All right, Lisa Wells Baker, I'm going to transubstantiate this bomb rip for you. Welcome to the live stream. I, as Archpastor of Yaylorian Church and also the main guy of God's Big Heaven Church, I have the power to transubstantiate bomb rips, so I will transubstantiate this one to you. I hereby transubstantiate this bomb rip onto Lisa Wells Baker. Because ladders are for bitches. Just kidding. Sure. Mark, what is your rationale for identifying with Christianity? Well, I would say, first of all, that faith is not a rationality-driven behavior. It's, look, you can know, you can conclude. Those are your knowing functions, NI, SI. You can know NI, you can remember SI, you can conclude TI, you can feel it FI. My phone number is, I'll put that right here now, but I'll tell you my address over the phone. I don't want to put my parents' address up on the internet. I don't know. My phone number is around somewhere. Yeah. Okay. Here you go. This phone number is for Poop Face. I mean, Jake Forrest. I do still want Dave Chappelle to be my vice president. My old phone number was with Kimberly's account. I mean, Horse Mumbler, the thing is, that reasoning's all well and good, but personally, that's the kind of special pleading that the road to hell is paved with. I'm not playing that game. Oh, yeah, that is really suspicious. That intact hand and ring they used to identify him. That's super suspicious. Seriously, that's what they say? I haven't looked into all the details of it. They blew him up with a missile strike and they found an intact hand and ring of his. Seriously? Isaiah Rude, why are you being rude? Why are you busting Lisa Wells Baker's chops? Huh? That wasn't a very nice comment at Isaiah Rude. What do you think about that? Maybe now you feel bad, huh? Okay, cool. Jake Forrest. Sounds good. Yeah, I think you only be one. I sing a what now? The thing about politics and the presidency and such is everybody's got a lot of strong feelings about it. You know, Horst Mumbler's got a lot of clear thoughts on it. He's done a lot of thinking about it. Other people have strong opinions, not necessarily done a lot of thinking about it. Everybody who's really, got their emotions invested into politics thinks the other guys are evil. Sergei Rachmaninoff, yes, Obama was an ENTP, but I'm not going to be like him no more. I wish he wasn't, because I don't want him to be linked to me in any way, really. But he was an ENTP for sure. He is an EHP. I'm not saying that spirituality and stuff doesn't exist, but the religious stuff in the Bible is mostly nonsense, and therefore so is religious practice. What? That's kind of a leap of logic there, Bruce Wayne. How wasn't Obama an ESTJ? He definitely wasn't an ESTJ. Definitely, he was an ENTP. It's just there's nothing else he could be. Tom and Jerry, you know, they're just a couple of sociopaths. Frankly, the way they treat each other, not okay. Everyone's always trying to kill everybody. When I think about the office of the presidency, then the trick is to communicate with people the reality of it. I'm not going to agree with you on everything. You have your politics. Everyone's got their own politics. I've got my politics. We're not going to agree on everything. But the big difference between me and the other candidates is I'm not part of any of these teams. I'm not on your team. If you're on a team, I'm not on your team. If you're not on a team, you're on my team. If you are on a team, you're still on my team, but I'm probably not on yours. What this means is I'm here to get us past this ridiculous team shit. Who's to blame? The Democrats, the Republicans, the progressives, the libertarians, the conservatives. The person to blame, the people to blame, are the ones who insist on saying, Eric, you're part of this group, but don't know it. Because they're the ones who don't get it. We are all Americans. We need to put the group labels behind us and focus on what is correct. What is correct is not what is consistent with your group label. What is correct is what is correct. When we want to use group labels, we want one group to win or one group to lose. If you say, I'm a progressive, but don't know it, then progressives win because I'm right. I'm therefore not a progressive. If you say, you're a conservative, Eric, then conservatives win because I'm right, but I'm not a conservative because they don't get to win. None of the groups get to win. You're all wrong. You're all part of groups. All the group people. You're all part of groups. That's fine. Be part of groups. But I'm not going to be part of your groups. I'm going to be correct about everything. And hopefully I'll appeal to you enough in my honesty and correctness that you'll put aside the group thing for a minute and focus on the person and the ideas, the policies. I'm a man of character and I'm correct about everything. That's all anybody needs to know about me. Describing things is not useful when you are putting people into political camps because already you're getting something critical point wrong. We should deal with politics on an issue by issue basis as per specific issues and problems as they arise. We should establish inherency before we do anything. Let's say there needs to be a problem in the status quo that we're solving. If we are not, we should have a TE frame in our approach to politics and a TI deliberative process. Yeah, I've been to China. I mean, what do you mean? All I did there was do debate work. It's not like I was spying on China or something. I don't know. I mean, they would get me to be a spy. No, nobody ever met with me or talked to me or anything like that. I was just a debate coach. Anything I got in, I got a lesson in don't get too rights based in your arguments. They don't like that. So, I mean, the nuclear weapons topic is a perfect example of how a president should be thinking in general. The nuclear weapons topic is states ought to eliminate the nuclear arsenals. Now, everybody else is debating this topic as though it were compare worlds between a world with no nuclear weapons and a world with yes nuclear weapons. But that's not the way the resolution is actually intended to be debated. It's intended to be debated as an opinion of juris thing. Like, if it were the opinion of juris of the international community that states had an obligation to get rid of the nuclear weapons, then conversations about nuclear weapons between various states would be very different. In the status quo, when the United States is talking to Iran about nuclear weapons, the United States is trying to tell Iran the following thing: we are responsible enough to have nuclear weapons because we are civilized, and you are not responsible enough to have nuclear weapons because you are uncivilized. That is what we are trying to tell Iran. If we have any even teeny amount of sense about us, we'll recognize the fact that people don't like to be treated as fundamentally inferior, and that if you insist on treating them as such, they will rebel. Now, if you were to approach the question from a perspective of we shouldn't have nuclear weapons either, and nobody should. We know we're trying to get rid of them, but we definitely don't want anybody else to get nuclear weapons because we're trying to get rid of them. Everybody should get rid of them. That's a different kind of conversation with Iran than the one we're having currently in the status quo. So, in my opinion, this resolution that we're debating right now in debate ought to be debated as such. What ought to be the frame of the conversation with various states regarding the question of nuclear weapons? I'm not saying that my position on it is alpha and egg. I'm saying we need a president who thinks like this. Right? Now, here's the thing. We definitely have external threats that ought to be defended against as well. And I don't want to I don't want to pull down a fence that's keeping the cows in on the grounds that, well, cows haven't gotten out, which a lot of people will advocate that shit, Of course, I'm advocating for strong leadership. I will be a strong leader. But most of all, what I'm advocating for is genuine, adult, prudent intelligence. Taking the job seriously, for God's sake. But the U.S. grow his military and want others to do also, so why is this argument? What do you mean? In the status quo, under the Trump administration, with, for most of his term, a Republican legislature, it's fair to say that the U.S. increased militarization. But what I'm saying is there's no reason for that. We ought to decrease militarization while retaining some basic defenses that are important. there's a mention of cyber threats. One of the challenges of the country is managing a defense set up against cyber threats that's not the NSA's bullshit, right? I have to deal with the NSA at some point, and we're gonna have to figure that out because I'm sure they do stuff that's important. Like they actually are providing a defense against certain things. Some of the things they do, and I'm also sure that some of the shit they do is chasing phantoms. Like in other words, you cannot task somebody to anticipate and prevent shit that hasn't been generated yet in somebody's head, even, right? It's like there has to be an understanding that we choose to be responsive. In other words, I rely on the deterrent that if you do attack me, you will be punished in dramatic order. We oughtn't to rely instead on trying to prevent the attack. You might say, Eric, you're putting at risk millions of lives of Americans by taking that attitude. Wrong. By and large, it's the only sensible way to do things. You can't anticipate infinite possible vectors of attack. You can't anticipate who from infinite possible individual lone wolves might do something. You can anticipate some about like terrorist organizations and such, but the amount of resources we're directing towards preventing these kind of destabilization vectors over other ones that are vastly easier to deal with, cheaper to deal with, and more plausible to deal with just is non-rational decision making. It just is. So we need to stop lying. That's the number one problem. We need to stop lying. Politicians representing this angle on this thing or this spin on this thing or that spin on this thing, they need to stop lying. I can present all the arguments on both sides. This is why this side wins. This is why this side's bullshit. Stop being advocates. Start being leaders. I'm not sure the specifics of thin thread. I am generally opposed to unconstitutional programs of all sorts. As far as surveillance goes, I am actually not at all opposed to valence, but it needs to be universal, not from above. Surveillance means from above. Surveillance means valence from below. I'm in favor of valence in general, broad, widespread transparency. I oppose the European move towards strong privacy for the reasons David Brin articulates in one of his articles. It's insane. It's wrong. It's back-ass words. Yeah, you're right about that, Horse Mumbler. Good analysis there. I mean, this is the thing. It's not just Ted Cruz who's going to get torn apart on the debate stage. And it's not just on policy. It's on a fundamental alignment with this issue of what are we doing here as politicians, you know? I am a citizen who understands policy way better than any of the people who are running. I'm a citizen who cares about the country in a meaningful and intelligent and adult way that it just hasn't been represented in our government for a long time. It's not been the voice of America for a long time. Andrew Yang is not competent to do the job. If you are a person who's advocating for a universal basic income without a funding plank, get the fuck out of it. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. You either fund it or shut the fuck up. When you want to talk about offensive, advocating a universal basic income with no fucking funding plank. That's offensive. Do we want that kind of scumbag as president? He's a rhetorical scoundrel. If you're going to advocate something, you better advocate how you're going to pay for it. How? How's it going to be funded? With his magic math? Explain it then. Okay, explain it quickly. Is he defunding Medicare? It's not that difficult to explain something, for God's sake. Is he defunding Medicare? Or is he raising taxes on the rich? Or what? Give me the gist of his warrants. Quickly. No, I'm in the middle of the conversation right now. I need to know what the warrants are so I can address them. I don't want to go do research right now. Jesus Christ, Jeebus. Can't you answer a goddamn question? Value-added tax. Taxes. More taxes. Note this. People are already taxed around 50% of their income. 33%, a third of your paycheck, gets taken by Social Security. Anybody who makes any decent amount of money gets an additional 25% taken. Money that's been taxed and gets invested gets retaxed as capital gains taxes. And the solution to our current problems is more taxation? Shame on that scoundrel. That's not a real solution. That's more of the same. No more taxes. Government has had trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars of taxes that they have wasted on the war on poverty, the war on drugs, neither of which made any demonstrable impact. Why did they fail so utterly? They exceeded the constitutional scope of the federal government, and the courts allowed it anyway. So no more failures. No, Andrew Yang, your failure will not be tolerated any longer. It is time to stop failing. He's presuming all sorts of impacts post-fiat that he can't presume. He's counting on all kinds of phantoms to come true. I have a UBI that's actually funded. If you actually want to fund a UBI, get rid of entitlements. You got to fund it right there. Or come up with a unique funding plan like I got for it. One of the two. Don't try to tell me you're not going to cut entitlements and still manage to fund this shit. You're a fucking liar. Andrew Yang's a liar or a fool. You are not going to fund this shit without cutting entitlements. You might be able to replace Social Security. You want to cut Social Security? Fine. I'll put a link to it. I've got a couple different ways we can possibly get there, actually, but it's more of the fucking same. Another big government plan. That's the last fucking thing we need. The absolute last. Well, when truth and justice in the American way get threatened by wrongness, then that is when I get angry. And that's what we need as a president. It's not okay that he's trying to spin this bullshit as a real plan. I'm not destroying shit. Christina Bowman, look at my fucking platform. What do you think I'm destroying? I didn't advocate that. I'm not advocating getting rid of all entitlements and Social Security in order to fund it. I'm saying those are ways you could fund it, unless you have a unique funding plan like I have. I mean, I don't know if he is advocating just getting rid of entitlements. The thing is, that's politically impossible. That's the other thing that's being ignored here, is the actual political plausibility of the thing. You're not going to get a massive bill that gets rid of multiple entitlement programs. And okay, well, so look, you have to be realistic as well. I mean, I agree, getting rid of all entitlements and replacing them with the UBI would be preferable to it. But he doesn't know what he's ideating on his way. He's not there yet. He's not smart enough. He's not correct enough. He's trying to do things the wrong way. I'm trying to do things the right way. The best way to impact the government positively and the country positively is, number one, constrain ourselves to foreign policy. Number two, deal with case law. I'm going to use the Justice Department to make changes in case law that interpret the Constitution more tightly and improve the country accordingly. We need to do something about the massive injustice being wreaked by the drug war, and a lot of other things. But most of all, what we are not going to do is tear shit up that coral reefs have grown up on. So I am pragmatic enough to recognize that even though a given structure or system is garbage, if a lot of coral reef has grown up on it, and a lot of fish are surviving on that reef, and it's critical that we don't want to just willy-nilly tear shit down and destroy people's lives. You can't win without building an infrastructure. What is your plan for building a movement? Well, my plan for building a movement right now is as simple as this. Once my mom passes, I'm going to begin traveling the country, going from college to college, trying to, arrange to speak to groups or in some sort of pre-set up occasion on the college campus, field questions and answer all the questions, and best I can, live stream the whole thing, and then go on to the next college and try to do it again. I'm going to start there, building as much grassroots as I can. Say, look, you guys are college kids, but if you want to donate $10 to my campaign, it would help a lot. As soon as I get $5,000 in donations, I report to the Federal Elections Commission that I am officially a candidate. You got to get $5,000. I've got like $120 in donations or something now. I told, I said, okay, I'm not going to 2020. I'm going to keep that money in my war chest. When it gets to $5,000, I'll report to the Federal Elections Commission. And, I'm going to be extremely active as a candidate on live stream, on YouTube. I'm going to, the thing to remember is this. There's two critical things. Number one, I don't have to be perfect. I just have to be better than all the alternatives. And number two, unlike everybody else, I'm doing this for the right reasons. And I'm honest and earnest in a way that's difficult to deny. It's like unlike everybody else, I'm not shitting you about anything. I know that I'm going to get critiques of all sorts. I'm going to get perfectly reasonable critiques, some of which were like ham bones, saying basically he found a gap in my knowledge and he kind of hammered me on it. Perfectly reasonable critiques to totally just kind of effy attacks. Like I can sense some insecurities. You get who I am. If you sense some insecurities, maybe there are some. I'm certainly not going to do a lot of willful fakery of any sort, because my job is to be the best candidate / president that the United States of America has ever or will ever have. I'm going to be the first person who's fully engaged with all of the ideation on all the policy stuff, who really wants to make sure that it gets communicated to everybody that their perspective on it has been heard and considered. That to the extent that it's been rejected for a good reason, and that it doesn't mean we consider them our enemies. Our political opponents are not our enemies. We are all Americans. Winston Small, unfortunately, I cannot promise to do that because it's a states' rights issue. All right. The 10th Amendment reserves that power to the states, apparently. So nothing I can do about it as president. I tell you what I can do. I can put in a good word for parents as president. I can say, listen, America, I just want to say, this is the last little thing here tonight, and it's the end of this presidential live stream. You know, there are a lot of people out there who really love ferrets, and there's some states that don't allow ferrets. And it's kind of like anti-ferret discrimination going on. So, think about it, maybe. Well, I cater to identity politics? Of course not. I mean, only insofar as I will point out that we are all our identities comprise a number of self-identifications, a number of labels that we give ourselves. I'm a man, I'm a father, I'm a son, I'm a boyfriend, I'm an ENTP, I'm a writer, a musician, whatever. A lot of different labels you can put on me. None of them are who I am. And none of them ought to be prioritized over any other aspect of who I am in terms of affording me many special privileges or rights or anything. Everybody's equal. Do I love trans people? Trans rights? What is it that trans I don't understand what it is that trans people are not afforded that they ought to be, or something. Like, right to do what? I don't understand. Well, it would be stronger in one direction. As Commander in Chief, will you allow women to finally wear their hair down when they're desk bound? I didn't even know that was a rule. Sure. I didn't know that was a rule. Okay, so should trans people be able to use the bathroom they identify with as their correct gender? I mean, is that a problem? Like, is there a problem with like people in the women's room going, this person who came in the women's room isn't really a woman, and I'm bothered by that? Is that a problem, actually? I want to know if that's actually a problem. If it is, then I'll take a stance on it. Like we have a lot of gender neutral bathrooms in California now. We don't, and usually they're general, but almost always they're the kind that you go in and you lock the door behind you, and rather than the kind that have multiple seats or multiple urinals or whatever. Um, well, I mean, horse mumble, I've thought about that sort of stuff before. Is there stuff I would like to take down as I'm getting ready for running, so that it's not used against me? Um, the answer is no. There's a few things maybe, but nothing pops out. And the thing is, I would rather people know everything about me, and to the extent that there's stuff that doesn't play very well or whatever, I want to win the argument that, remember, they have secrets. You know everything about me. You might not like this part of me, might not like that part of me, but at least you know what you're getting. You don't know what you're getting with these fuckers. Who would you put in charge of the Fed? I don't know yet. I have to do some research. I'm not sure. Like those kind of details, I will do a good job of them. I promise I'm going to do a good job with personnel and all that kind of stuff. Well, sure they will, Gostras. They will. No, I have been very, very careful about everything I say for a long time now. So there's no words that I've said that can be used against me unless they're totally taken out of context or something. I've not said things I regret that I wouldn't, I don't, I go like, oh, I really should. I mean, occasionally I'll say something and I'll retract it or whatever, but very rarely. There are stuff that might not make me look good. Smoking bong rips or whatever. So, I mean, I don't think the transubstantiated bong rips are going to play very well with the Christian voter, but I want to point out the fact that, hey, I'm the one who's transparent because I have the least to hide. So you can see everything here. You can see these bong rips. Now remember, I'm transparent because I have the least to hide. Well, what do you think they're doing? Let your imagination roam wild. I want to turn it, make it a burden on others to try to scramble to be more transparent because it's indicated because I've successfully turned the issue, make it an affirmative defense of sorts. You prove to me you're not smoking crack. Like that. I was smoking weed, but well, I mean, Jeeves, here's the thing. If everybody said they were going to be president was crazy, then nobody could become president without being crazy. Look, here's the thing about drug laws in general. It is not up to me to legalize or unlegalize or decriminalize or whatever drugs, because drugs and the prohibition thereof is not a matter of federal concern. there shouldn't be any federal drug laws. It should be state drug laws. I might disapprove of them, but it's the state's concern, not the federal government's. You appoint corporate executives as heads of their regulated sectors? No, actually, I wouldn't. I would explicitly not do that. I mean, I don't have a problem with corporations. I do have a problem with conflict of interest. That's an issue of ethics. Obviously, the regulators have to be not in the pockets of the corporations they're regulating. Whether or not these regulations are actually desirable, it depends on the regulation. Those will have to be evaluated one at a time. There certainly are some regulations we do need. There certainly are some federal regulatory jobs that need to be done. And to the extent that those jobs need to be done and we have regulators in place, then absolutely I don't want them in the pocket of the people they're regulating. They need to be completely independent and above reproach. They need to avoid even the appearance of impropriety. Like, for example, I don't think when I make videos with Jake Forrest, I don't think we're going to come here to my house. Why? Because I want to avoid even the appearance of impropriety. I'm not going to try to get on her. Her name's Jake Forrest. She's not really named Jake Forrest. And she's an attractive young woman. I'm definitely not going to do anything. I know that. It would be perfectly safe if she were here and she were making a video here with me. But I want to avoid even the appearance of impropriety. So I will not bring her here to make the video. We will make a video in some public place. I won't go to her hotel room to make the video. Is it because I'm not safe to go to her hotel room or she's not safe to come here? No, she is safe to come here and I am safe to go there. But I won't do it anyway because I value the mechanics of being ethical, not just the bare minimum of it, you know? The same thing's absolutely true for things like that question there. Whoever asked that question. Was it Poopface? Tim Boer, EPA. I'm in favor of environmental regulation. I'm in favor of federal environmental laws. And you might say it's hypocritical because the same logic that doesn't justify their having federal drug laws would not justify environmental laws, perhaps. I disagree. I think I can make the argument for them. Regardless, I favor federal environmental laws, and I favor fairly strict environmental laws. And I think it's an appropriate scope of power for the federal government. No. By whom? By the country? No. Would you be okay with your daughter being on the board of an energy company that she's not qualified for? You mean would I be okay with a corporation giving my daughter a job to get in tight with me? No. That's the appearance of impropriety I'm talking about. Fuck no. Avoid even the appearance of impropriety. It's simple. Of course I wouldn't be okay with that. It would obviously be an attempt to buy my favor. And that's not okay. I'm serving in a public office. I'm a public servant. I'm not there to get my daughter jobs or get rich or whatever shit, you know? I got to go in and put my mom to bed. Yeah, I will avoid even the appearance of impropriety. Okay? But I mean, there's some things like I'm in favor of that you might be like, well, why are you favoring that? Well, because I favor it. But that company gave you a campaign donation. It's because they knew I favored it before they gave me that donation. It's like, do I favor legalizing poker, online poker in the United States again? Yes, I absolutely do. If you are a online poker company and you want to donate money to me, do you know that that's something I'm going to be advocating for? Yes, you know that. It's not only something that I'm in favor, I'm on your side on, but I will be actually devoting some of my energy to trying to get that done. So should that company give me money as a campaign donation? Yes, because their issue is my issue. But no, my issue is not their issue because they gave me money. It's my issue before anybody's giving me any money. And it's going to remain my issue, no matter who gives me money. Okay? Now, I really do got to go. Thanks for watching. Talking Sense People. Don't forget to eat clean cheese.